it was disbelief, shock. It doesn't make any sense. We were deprived of such a beautiful, incredible human being. She came back into the dance hall that we were playing, the club, to congratulate us. I mean, he goes, "Oh, you guys were awesome."
Pete Astudillo says Selena wasn't just a superstar. She was like his little sister. Pete is behind some of her biggest hits, songs that we've come to love and know. And he also talks about what really shocked him in Netflix's Selena y Los Dinos. Remember the moment she met Chris?
Yeah, we all remember the moment we all met Chris at the same time when he joined the band, and he came in as a guitar player. The moment that the relationship started,
Did you know?
we all knew at some point. But I think people knew different times. They were a little bit more with each other, and she was a little bit closer to him, or like when we walked into a restaurant, we would sit down, and like she would sit with him, little things like that.
So what did you think when you did find out? What did you think? Did you think it was going to turn serious, or did you think it was just young love? And
For sure, I mean, I thought it was young love, and rightfully so. She deserved that. He deserved that. The dynamic of the band, that's a different story.
did that change the dynamic?
Not really. It didn't change until things got bad. And of course, everybody's seen the movie, everybody's seen the Netflix series. And we were trying to act like nothing was going on. We were trying to keep it like status quo. The the show must go on, the band must go on.
How long did that last for? Until
It had to be several months because then we kind of knew. And I remember Joe telling me, like, hey, Selena and Chris are kind of going around. We sound like in third grade. They're going around.
yeah,
And I really, yeah. Like,
was that a shock to you that they got married?
when they got married, that was a shocker. Because I didn't expect that. Actually, things got better after they got married. Because then it was out in the open. It wasn't a secret anymore. We didn't have to pretend. We didn't have to hide.
Did
They
she
didn't
ever
have to hide.
confide in you in anything?
Of the relationship, yes. I remember she kind of got mad at me one time. We were playing in Houston, and we were at a place called the Island in Houston, which was a real popular. And I remember she kind of asked to talk to me, and she was kind of mad at me because she thought we weren't being cool about the relationship, and she thought you guys aren't being cool or being supportive, about Chris and I. Because this is when we kind of knew it wasn't out like full force, full blown.
She said you are being supportive. Or
That
you're
I
not?
wasn't.
Oh, you were not.
And she kind of got mad at me. She goes, you and all the guys are being like jerks or whatever. And I go, so we're not being anything. We're not. We're just concerned about you. We're concerned about Chris. We're concerned about your dad and your mom. We're concerned about everything. At the same time, how about if it breaks your heart? Then what?
What did she say?
And we just had a good talk, and she was just kind of concerned that we weren't cool with it. Like, we're cool with it. We're cool. I mean, if you're in love with him, or I don't think I said if you're in love with him. I think if you like him and he likes you, that's great. Awesome. And we're cool with it. But, we can't be like acting that your dad, I mean, it's just a weird thing right now. But like, we're supportive. That's what you want. That's what you want. Awesome. And I think he gave me a hug, and we hugged it out. And I think that's the only time we talked about that till after they got married. And then they get married, and it was really weird because prior to the marriage thing, Chris wasn't in the band at the point. Of course, she wasn't happy because of that. Then they get married, and then it went back to normal. It was like, nothing happened. Now they're married. Let's move forward.
Is that the only time she was ever mad at you? That you remember her? It sounds like she's direct like her dad. Does she have any qualities from her dad? Is she a lot like Abraham?
Yeah. If she gets mad at you, she's gonna let you know. She's gonna let you know. I can honestly I don't remember ever being mad with her or she being mad with me. Like I said, she was always very supportive. The first time I went in the studio and I bombed completely when we were doing our first duet. I bombed. The moment was too big for me. I don't think I was ready. I wasn't ready, obviously. I wasn't ready. And I literally got kicked out of the studio. She was the first person that came up to me and said, like, no, you did great. You're gonna be fine, and you just gotta work at it, and you're gonna come back, and we're gonna do it, and we did. But my point is, I remember more on the supportive side. The only time I really hurt, being hurt, she wasn't mad at me. She was more like hurt
Yeah.
that we weren't supporting her and Chris. And I told her, no, it has nothing to do with not supporting you. We do support you. We're just scared. And we're like freaking out a bit and freaking out on your dad and on everything.
But you guys were together a lot.
Oh, heck
You guys had a friendship.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, no. She was amazing. I mean, she was.
What was she like to you? Like a little sister? Or?
Oh, heck yeah. She was like my little sister. I've always said that. She's always like, yeah, like a little sister. But it was ironic. She was my little sister that I learned so much from because she was more experienced than me. But she was my little sister. And we were all protectors of her.
Was she pretty wise? Did she keep y'all in check?
She really did. She was wise beyond her years, her experience. She started working when she was about 8. She started performing when she was about 8. So her experience level was superior to a lot of people that I know, including myself.
Even though she
so
was way
anything
younger.
that I learned from her and the whole band, from all the band.
What are some of your most memorable moments, your memorable performances with her, memorable moments with her, just as a person?
I mean, anytime we were together, I mean, it's like we literally lived together, all of us. We were in that bus.
At the center of everything, I keep hearing about that bus. It sounds like a lot of family memories between you guys were formed on that bus. A lot
On
of
the Bertha.
relationships,
But
right? That's when you and AB bonded. That's when she and Chris bonded.
Yes,
That's
it
when
is.
and Mr. Abraham, I mean, from what I know at the time, they said to have a bus, it was a really big deal. But he was the one fixing it, right?
It really was a big deal. I mean, first of all, we were a working band. I mean, it's not like we weren't like weekend warriors in the sense, which is nothing wrong with being weekend warriors, but it's not like we worked like a gig like 2 or 3 times a month. No. We worked like on the road 3 or 4 times a week.
What
And
were the best crowds?
craziest, most enthused crowds to me has to be Mexico. Mexico. When we went into Mexico, it was mind-boggling. We weren't prepared almost in this not prepared to play. I think mentally, because over here at that time, or even now, if you can bring in 2,000 people or 1,000 people into a venue, that's a great crowd. That's a great night. Even now. Back then, if you could do that, that was amazing. Now we go into Mexico, and there are like 40,000 people.
Wow.
And then we go to another venue, there's like 90,000 people. So that was like, and they call them bailes masivos, massive dances, which is exactly what they were. And they went on from 5 in the afternoon till 5 in the morning.
Now, was that from the beginning, from the first time you went to Mexico, or like the reception the first time you guys went into Mexico?
No, the first time we went to Mexico, that was the reception because I think we went into Mexico like 1991, 90. I mean, it's been a long time. But the first time we went to Mexico, we had a song called Bailas de Cumbia that started doing well. And I think Carcacha was starting to pick up. So we were already doing pretty good over here in the States. Selena had picked up already. We had a nice, a really nice following. But the first time we went to Mexico is because there was a demand for us. It wasn't like, well, let's go take him over there, see what happens. No. When we went to Mexico, to Monterrey, people were waiting for Selena. They were hungry for Selena. So the first time we went there, I think, is when there was about 90,000 people. And we weren't the headliners. We were like a special guest. The headliner, I think, was Bronco. For people that don't know Bronco, they were like the it band of the 80s, 90s. I mean, they were filling up stadiums.
So what was it feeling like when you go from playing in a small venue where you said 1,000 people would have been great to
Yeah.
suddenly
It was
90,000 people are waiting for you?
It was shocking. That's why I say I don't think we were mentally prepared because we weren't expecting, or at least I'll speak for myself. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think Sel was expecting that either, or none of us. So there's a lot of people out there.
Did that energize you more?
It was energy, fear, adrenaline, all in one. And of course, it's intimidating. You see a crowd, and thinking, how are they going to control this crowd? And it got a little crazy the first time we went there because we wouldn't go on because it wasn't our turn yet. And the crowd started getting restless. So hence the part of the movie, the Selena movie, where the crowd is, people are pushing the stage. They kind of got some of those ideas from that. But it got crazy. It got crazy. Of course, when Selena comes on, it's all love and peace, and everybody
Enamored. People are
everything, everybody in awe of her, rightfully so. And we had a great time. But the scene in Mexico was very different from over here, and the fans are, once again, I think also the enthusiasm, they had never seen us before. I mean, we're new. We're like the color of the color of the month, or whatever you want to call it. So we're the new toy. So people were amazed. And then, of course, we went on and thank God, put on a great show. Selena, had him in the palm of her hand. I mean, she had him eating from her hand, and she won over Monterrey. She became the queen in Monterrey. One after the other, we did Bidi Bidi Bom Bom together. I did AB. With AB, that was the first time I wrote with AB, I think. Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. And then we wrote a couple of more from the more popular ones. Then we did Baila esta cumbia. We did Como la Flor.
I told you first thing I said when I met him, I said, you co-wrote one of my all-time favorite songs. And it's such an honor to be sitting with you, because I'm just like, I want to know how you came up with the lyrics, what inspired you. I want to know everything about Como la Flor and your other songs too. How did you come up with that song? When did you do it? Were you on the bus? I have so many questions.
The thing is that song, there's two different things. AB in his head had conjured up something, and he always wanted to do a song because at our dances, there was always these little kids or ladies or persons selling these fake like plastic flowers with a little light on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they still do. And I think that's where he started getting the idea. And I think we were in a hotel room when he came up with the melody. And he jumped out of the shower and he told Joe, hey, give me a keyboard, because we were sharing a room. We have to remember that Selena was a very young woman. She was a young girl, per se. She was a teenager.
Yeah.
So we had to be very careful what we wrote for her. It had to be very pure, innocent, and almost like first love-ish thing.
Was that an Abraham conversation that he had with you guys?
Not really.
You just
I think
understood that you
was
needed
more
to
like
protect her as well.
It was more like an AB conversation. AB, the son.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be about young love. And it's either you're either in love or you're either in pain. So this one, I'm going to go for the pain. For some reason, songs of pain fit me better. I don't know why. Maybe I've had a horrible life. That's why I say, you know what? It's got to be about young love, about the first time, about being in pain over somebody breaking up with you. And that's why I started taking it. And I said, but this person can't be, this person's so kind, so nice, Selena, that even after you're breaking her heart, even though you're leaving her, she's still wishing you well. And you know what? I know you found somebody else, but I want you to be happy. It doesn't matter if, if you go on without me, I couldn't give you what you needed. So just go on and be happy. And that's what the song talks about. So, and I'm being very honest, I really believe that Selena would have done that. I swear to God, that's her MO. I think she would have said, you know what, you're not happy with me, go be happy. Find who makes you happy. And I think that's my contribution to what AB gave me.
So he would just sit there and hum the song, and then you're coming up with the words as he's humming.
Yo sé que tienes un nuevo amor, y sin embargo te deseo lo mejor. Y si en mí no encontraste felicidad, tal vez alguien más te la dará.
Como la flor, con tanto amor, me diste tú, te marchito,
me marchó.
Yo sé perder,
pero
ay, cómo me duele.
Hey!
Ay, cómo me duele.
No, that was beautiful.
Oh,
I bet you guys
right now.
you didn't know that she sang did you?
I sing this song all the time. I think people have heard me sing this song because I love this
Oh my
song.
God, you made me sweat.
I made
What
me
the
cry.
heck? Look, I'm not kidding. Look.
Ever since I was a kid, I would sing this song, and I connected. Like I told you, I didn't understand the lyrics fully too, but I could feel it.
It
touched me.
and that's why that's why I could tell you're really feeling it. You were really connecting with it, and I think that's the beauty of that
Yeah.
song. And of course, that's her anthem. I mean, everybody is like
Yeah.
Selena's gonna say "Como la flor," but I think it describes her, a beautiful piece of work that Selena would come and just sing the heck out of it and express every emotion and capture like
The
that.
hearts, the hearts.
Not
It's-
only your heart, but the hearts of so many.
I
Yeah.
told you my 4-year-old is
You-
now all about Selena too.
You know when Adele came out with that song "Someone Like You"?
Yes, yes.
When I heard Adele sing "Someone Like You," I go like, "Oh my God, that's como la flor
Yes.
in English." And it voice, and if you listen to it, it really does. Y'all, I'm gonna give you all homework. Do that. Listen to Adele, "Someone Like You," then listen to "Como la flor."
How did you end up meeting the Quintanillas? I mean, they were from Corpus. You were living in Laredo.
This DJ, The Bird, a really popular DJ in Laredo, el locutor número dos, who later went on to do stuff for the Selena y Los Dinos, the Carcacha, and he did the intro to the live album, the Grammy Award album. He saw us performing, and he's the one that said, "You know what? I'm gonna get you guys to play in a club where I DJ." And he took us to this club he played at. It was Roxy's, and that's where we met Selena y Los Dinos. We opened up for them, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think we made a really good impression on Mr. Quintanilla the first time he met us. And I remember Abraham coming up to me like, "What's all of this stuff?" He goes, "Oh, well, it's for the band we're playing tonight." He goes, "Well, who's playing?" He goes, "Well, the Bad Boys." And he goes, "Who's that?" He goes, "Well, local band." And okay, he goes, "Yeah, okay, that's fine, but I don't want any of these speakers here. You need to get these down. You're blocking the stage." And so that day pretty much started that way, and it didn't get any better. It just got worse and worse.
So he was intimidating. So your first
If you-
impression of
my
Mr.
God.
Quintanilla.
I think anybody's first impression of Mr. Quintanilla is intimidating. So bottom line, we opened up for them that night, which we really didn't even open because at the end, right before we were going to go on, I think Mr. Quintanilla was scared that we were going to sound horrible, and it doesn't make sense to me. But regardless whether it makes sense to me or not, he told the DJ, our friend the Bird, he goes, "You know what? They're not going to open up. Selena's going to do her set. When she gets off, you let them play for 15, 20 minutes. Okay? Okay." So the DJ comes up to me, he goes, "When she gets off the stage, you jump on the stage. You got 15 minutes. He goes, "Sure, let's do it." So we get up and do our thing after they finish, and they were walking out to go to their bus. And that's when they heard us for the first time. And they told us later on that when they were walking out, they were going like, "They can't be them. That sounds too good to be them." So they went back inside, and there was like a second level in the club, and they went up there to hear us. And they heard our whole little 15-minute set. And as a matter of fact, then they told the DJ, tell them they can play longer. And then when the night ends and we're rolling up our chords and putting up our rinky-dinky equipment, Abraham approaches me again. But this time it was very different. And he's like, "So who are you?" I'm like, "Well, my name's Pete. This is Joe. And who's your manager?" He goes, "We don't have a manager." "Who does your bookings?" "This is it. You're looking at it. There's no booking agent. There's no managers." So he goes, "You'll run everything on your own." He goes, "Yeah, pretty much. That's what we do." He hands me a card. He goes, "You want to work?" He goes, "I do, sir." He goes, "Give me a call." And that was the beginning of our relationship with Los Dinos.
You earned his respect pretty quickly. And put the timing in perspective for me. What year was that? How old was Selena at the time? Where was she in her fame period?
This was summer of 88. She was about 16, 17.
So it was right when she was beginning to really take off. That was the
Well,
beginning,
she was
right?
kind of in the midst of kind of being known. He already had recorded a couple of albums. She's getting some radio airplay. And I mean, I knew who she was. You know, when they told her, "Would you like to open up for Selena?" I said, "Heck yeah." You know, yes, of course. Yes, no pay. I don't care. You know,
Did you have any songs at the time that were out that were already that you can think of? That
Dulce Amor, Yo fui aquella. Laredo was a great venue for her. So the place was packed that night. So in my head, that's what I thought it would always be like. So when I called Abraham that following Mondays, because it was a Tuesday, they went on to work the weekend. So he goes, call me Monday. He goes, so I'm going to call you in the future, and there's some shows. You tell me if you're available, we'll do it. And that's how our career started with them. Our first show was in Robstown, Texas, at a place called the High Chaparral, which is a big venue. It's a big salon de baile or a dance hall. And we're expecting it to be amazing that night because Corpus is 15 minutes away. She's from Corpus. This is Robstown. That night was the first reality check to Joe and I of the reality of the business. Because 6 o'clock hits, 7 o'clock hits, a couple of cars here and there, 8 o'clock hits. Abraham goes like, it's time to get on stage. And I think I told him there's nobody here. And he let me have it like, that is none of your business who's here or not. I hired you to open up the show. And I go, I'm sorry. I was just kind of,
He didn't like that.
he did not.
And when you first opened up for them that night in Laredo and you saw her on the stage for the first time, do you remember when you saw her,
Oh, heck
what it was
yeah.
like?
Oh my God. I thought they were amazing. I really didn't like the Hana music, to be honest with you. And that's
Wow.
why I wasn't really aware. But I was into English music, rock and roll and stuff like that.
That's
Pop.
really surprising considering how you became an icon in the Tejano music world.
But when I heard them the first time, I was blown away because they were so tight. Her stage presence was amazing. I had never seen her perform. And then the band sounded amazing. We were like on the side of the stage, just kind of looking at them in awe. Her voice, her stage presence, everything. And once again, it was packed in Laredo. So I said, well, she's doing amazing. That's why, she is who she is, and she's an up-and-coming artist. Going back to the first gig that we played with them opening up in Robstown, there's 40 people here. But sure enough, they start jumping off the bus and in their outfits, hit the stage, and you would have thought there was 10,000 people in there. They put a show and we were on the
Like any
sides
other night.
looking again in awe. The night ends, and okay, to the next city. And Joe and I were like, what the heck did we experience? And it was a slap of reality. Also, like, oh my God, this is not as easy as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like Laredo every night. And then from the summer of 88 until the end of that year, we traveled with them. So we started, touring in the bus with him. And we thought like we were on cloud nine. We're touring in a bus, with Selena y Los Dinos. And we started getting to know each other. And there was a really good chemistry between AB and I right off the bat. We're with all of them. But with AB, and I remember he started telling me about a song that he wanted to write in English. He goes, but I don't know how to say it because I don't think I'm saying anything new. AB's Spanish was horrible. And so was Selena and Suzette and everyone's. So me coming from Laredo, Texas and being born
And you were fluent.
and fluent in Spanish. And of course, my early beginnings were in Laredo, where I'm from, where I was born and still live. And that's where I started like any musician, like any singer. And I formed a little duet back in the day with a friend of mine, Joe Ojeda.
How old were you at the time?
I was 20, well, I'm trying to do the math here, quick math. I was about 23, 22. My parents, of course, in case you haven't noticed, were from Mexico, from Guerrero, which people would know Acapulco. That's a famous city in Guerrero. My parents were there from a very small little farm, little town called Tuzantlan. My dad and my mom were rancheros. They didn't go to school. I knew education. That's what it was. That was what life was at that time. They came looking for the American dream and ended up in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, which is the border with Laredo. They jumped to Laredo, Texas, and ended up working in a farm called La Perla, and that's where I was born. We worked for the farmers, whatever it was, beets, cucumbers, onions, whatever we had to do. Once you hit 11, you're ready to work in the fields.
And so up until that point,
But that's the thing.
there
I
was
had,
no
a, very,
music
I
at
had a
all.
very normal life. And really, I didn't have a chance. Like I said, we went to school, then we would go work.
Did you at least sing in the shower? I mean,
Yes. I was going to get to that. My favorite places were to sing in church. Because when I would go to church, everybody was singing. So I was free to sing there and nobody was going to tell me anything.
now, did you know that you actually had talent? Did you know that you had a good voice? Did anyone tell you?
Nope. I never thought I had talent because I never Knew I had talent because nobody ever told me because I never did it. Like I said, I never sang in front of my parents or my siblings. And then I started writing little poems. But then again, all of this was very personal. It wasn't something I was showcasing. I knew that I loved to sing. I didn't know if I was good at it, but I knew that I had a passion for it. And I was about 21 or 22. I said, you know what? I was still in the restaurant business with my family. And I said, you know what? I just need to try this because the passion for this is too much. It's eating me up inside, but I don't even know how to start. So I started singing locally in Laredo, anything from community theater, church again. And that's when I met Joe Ojeda, whom I formed the Bad Boys with. And that was in 85.
So you found your calling at that point. I'm wondering what your family thought. Did they support that move for you, or was it?
Heck no. They thought I was, well, the first time they thought I was, I mean, I was just messing around, goofing around. I was doing something I love to do. So it wasn't serious. And then when I formed the Bad Boys with my friend Joe, we weren't really working at all. We were just rehearsing almost every day. We were the best rehearsed duet with no gigs. We would literally rehearse every day until finally I got a gig doing a wedding just by chance because my neighbor was getting married, and my dad, being a dad, bragged to my neighbors, you know, my son has a band. And of course, we weren't doing anything yet, but he just knew we were practicing. And we got hired to do a 3-hour gig, and we knew 10 songs, $150 for the night.
For 3 hours.
And we were so excited that we got paid to do something we love to do. And that was the key.
Hey, that's not bad at the time. 150
You
bucks,
know what? It
3
really,
hours in
it
the
really
80s?
wasn't bad. $75 a pop.
Do you remember your first conversation with Selena?
Well,
the very first time you actually
conversation, it has to be that the very first. Well, the first time we met, it was just very brief, which was in Laredo when we opened up for them, and she did come out after everybody was gone, and we were picking up the equipment. When Abraham came up and say hi to me afterwards and talked to me about working, her and Susan, everybody came back. She came back into the dance hall. We were playing the club to congratulate us. I mean, he goes, "Oh, you guys were awesome," and once again, like, you're congratulating us. You guys were freaking amazing, and and Suzette too. Suzette came in, and then I talked a little bit to Abby and to Ricky, and Jesse was the guitar player at that time, and then of course to Abraham. But that was the first time I met her. But we didn't have a conversation. But she was just she was so complimentary. Like, "Oh, you guys are so good," and and it's only 2 of you, and this and that. And that was the end
And
of
then
that.
you start to get to know her more and more on the bus.
Once we get to start traveling with them, we got to know each other, and everyone. And I mean, they were just the nicest people, all of them, and just so down to earth. Of course, Selena was freaking silly and goofy, and she was a teenager, for God's sake. People forget she was so young, so she was just silly and goofy and laughing and just full of energy.
But a lot of times when you look at interviews of like famous singers or movie stars, you feel like that there's this persona that comes on the camera and you have to act a certain way and be a certain way. But with Selena, when you're looking at the documentary as I'm watching it and I'm seeing all these interviews, even through her rise to fame, when people would ask her a question, she wasn't afraid to be silly. She wasn't afraid to let her guard down and giggle and walk away and say things that like you just would like a 17-year-old would act.
And she embraced the fact that she spoke really bad Spanish, and but she would try, and she would ask, "Am I saying it right?" She would ask you to correct her.
And the public was forgiving of that. They didn't care, right? Eventually.
But I think that was the beauty of it, that she wasn't pretending to know Spanish. She wasn't pretending she said, "You know what? I'm bad at this. I'm gonna give it a shot. Deal with me, embrace me, love me for it, or whatever. But this is who I am." And she was never fake. She was never fake. And there's a very famous line in the movie that Jennifer does. But when she's in Mexico, one of her big press conference, and she couldn't express herself. She's like, estoy excited. And then everybody thinks it's the cutest thing in the world. Anybody will be like, "No," and she got, and that's the thing, she could get away with it.
Yeah.
Because she could back it up, and she had the talent. She had
She had a lot of talents, right? She was a designer.
Yeah.
She loved to do that. She's obviously a great singer, a great dancer.
Heck yeah.
She really knew how to put on a show. But what would you say was her greatest talent?
I want to say it's tough. It really is because obviously the obvious one, the singing. I think she was a great singer, and not only as just a singer, she could interpret a song. Because one thing, and I think that's even for her, it was even harder because sometimes she didn't know what she was singing. So my job after I gave her the lyrics and we gave her the song was to explain to her, okay, this is what the song's about. I mean, she knew some of it, of course, like she knew some Spanish, but I would explain to her, like kind of like what we did right now. And I go, okay, check it out. This is what's happening, da, 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 da. And then so she could get into the gist, into the meaning and the bones of the song.
Yeah.
And that way, when she would sing it,
could feel
it wasn't just phonetics, or she wasn't just like pronouncing words. She's feeling them, and I think that was a big plus with her interpretation of the song. Because when you hear her voice crack a little bit or a little raspiness, and it just. I mean, it just makes you feel that even more. Yeah. And I sometimes think of Linda Ronstadt when she did Canciones para mi padre, and you hear her and you believe every moment. And even though she didn't know Spanish, and I kind of see Selena that same way, that even though she didn't know it, but like I said, we would explain it to her. She wasn't naive on the story.
Yeah, you understood.
But she was able to interpret it so well, and I think that's one of her key things. Of course, her voice. Her dancing ability, her designing was amazing. We wore some of her designs, for God's sake.
The cow one, right?
Oh my God, San Antonio. But we cannot forget the writing. I did Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. I wrote that with her.
Yeah.
I wrote Enamorada de Ti with her, so she was a writer too.
So yeah, she helped you write a lot of those. You did a lot of the writing on the bus together. Is that where a lot of the writing happened?
Well, Bidi Bidi Bom Bom was more of a, I don't want to say, yeah.
How did that come about?
It was a beautiful mistake. During sound check one time, if I remember correctly, she just started kind of singing gibberish. And the gibberish she was singing was Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. And it was about, first it started literally as gibberish, like da 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 da, like whatever she was doing. And then little by little, she kept doing it more and more. And then she started singing about a fish. If I had a wish, I wish I was a fish, and I would swim, swim, swim under the sea. And she started making up this song in English to the rhythm. And it got to the point that AB came to me and said, you know what? That's what she's doing. That's pretty cool. Because, we need to kind of organize it, put it in verses. We need to get a chorus for that. And everything she's doing, that melody she's doing, let's turn that into Spanish. So from Bidi, and then she would say Bidi Bidi Bubbles, Bidi Bidi Bop Bop, Bidi Bidi Bop Bop. All of that turned into Bidi Bidi Bom Bom.
But you can't help but like move when you say those words. So was she like dancing to it?
Yes, pretty much.
It's like you have to.
You have to. So that Bidi, the little thing that she did very organically, spontaneously, turned into Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. And again, young love, about a girl that's has puppy love per se for the first time, and every time she sees this guy, every time she walks by, like her knees are shaking, and she's just so, and her heart goes out of control and starts saying, "Bidi bidi bam bam."
We talked so much about like the harmony that you guys had, but were there any challenges, any tough moments in those years?
I said when I joined in '88 into '89. The gigs were not like, I mean, that was the challenge, building her up. Bringing in more fans because the shows were, they were not at the level they were towards the end. And of course, that was Abraham's responsibility. He was the manager. Our responsibility was to put the music together that hopefully was going to get us there. Abraham was the manager. We were the band. So yes, AB was the band director. He was the one in charge of everything. So at that point, I think he thought he had the tools to work with. And that's when we started putting that first album for Capital EMI. That did really well for us. And then that once that one was done, we started working on the next one. AB started getting more ideas from the Mexico sound. And when we were opening up for AB, we were doing a lot of cumbias like Mexico style, Joe and I, the bad boys. So I think he also noticed that because one time there was a dance that we played together where we were opening up for him still. And we had the crowd going because we were playing these Mexican style cumbias, more rhythmic. And AB tells me that that night when they were on the bus and I was playing with Joe with the Bad Boys and we had the crowd going, that his dad got him off the bus and goes, look inside that place right now. And he looked through the window and everybody was dancing up a storm. And he goes, what do you see? He goes, everybody's having a great time. He goes, that little two-man band is kicking your butt. He goes, well, they're doing that because they're playing popular music. He goes, yeah. He goes, well, that's what you need to do.
Tell me, Pete, what is it about Selena that just has people gravitating towards her like that? I mean, you knew her so well. You spent day in and day out with her for years.
It's that it factor. And I know people say it and throw it around very loosely.
What is that? What is that it factor? What is
It's the combination of everything. Charisma, beauty, talent, her attitude, her work ethic, the way she treats people, respect for the audience, and then that just likability. She's this soul of kindness and there's not a bad bone in her body. And I'm telling you this because I knew her from a very young age, and her generosity towards me, towards everyone, and the relatable. She's so relatable. Everybody, and I can honestly tell you this is the truth. That was watching her in an audience of 10,000 or 20,000 or 100 people. They probably all thought like, we could totally be friends, Selena and I. You know, we could probably hang out and we could go shopping and we could.
She does seem like that
Well,
from her interviews. It's
she's so relatable. She doesn't seem out of somebody's grasp. She doesn't act like she's better than anybody else. And it's not a show. It's not like I'm gonna try to do all these things to win over the crowd, win over the audience. It's real.
So she was the same person on stage
Everywhere.
as she was
Same
off
person
stage.
everywhere. Her generosity is beyond words. She was so generous. And I mean, even with me, like,
When you say generous, like
for example, like when I joined the band in '88, and then in '89 we recorded our first album with Capital EMI. They got a record deal, and AB comes up to me, goes, "Hey, we're gonna do a duet." And I thought, cool, really cool. And I thought like she's gonna do a duet with somebody else, and she's like, "No, with you." Like, I'm gonna do the duet with her. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You're part of the band." He goes, "Yeah." Like, oh, I'm like, literally what I'm doing now, that's literally what I did to him. Great. And I thought to myself, like, why would Selena, I know she's still not way up there yet, but she's had a really strong following. She's doing really well. Why would she do a duet with a complete nobody, a complete no one? And I'm not demeaning myself but nobody knew me.
But she didn't see you as nobody. She saw you as Pete, right?
That's exactly what I'm getting at. She could have said, you know what, why Pete? Let's get Emilio, or let's get Oscar from La Mafia, or let's get somebody else. Nobody knows Pete. What's the benefit of recording a duet with this dude? And she was the total opposite. Like, oh my God, that's amazing. We're going to do a duet together. And she was more excited than me, I think.
Did you ever tell her what you were thinking at the time?
Of course I did.
Did you ask her why me?
Yes, and I was in awe.
And what did she say?
She thought I was crazy. She goes, of course it's going to be you. And you know, and that just goes to show her generosity. And just like allowing me to share a stage with her that at the time I hadn't owned it yet. I hadn't worked enough for it yet. But nonetheless, I did. I sang next to her. I danced with her.
Which song was that?
This was Ama Me Quiereme. Ama Me Quiere was the first duet we ever did. Was the first Capital EMI album. And that was the first album I wrote songs on with AB.
And from that point on, it was
just that. So then we just kind of very organically started writing something together, and that grew into the writing relationship that we grew.
Yeah.
That we grew as friends, as comrades, as writers.
So it was an instant brotherhood.
It was a really instant brotherhood. It was very organic. It was always teamwork. There was nothing. It was the whole band, the team. I always say there was an art behind each song. I know it's A.B. Quintanilla, Pete Astudillo, or Ricky Velas, who said Selena, the writers. But behind each song, there's an army of people. And that sometimes it gets me a little, it hits me the wrong way when people say, "Oh, the last couple of years of her career, she was a solo artist." She was never a solo artist. The Dinos were always behind her. They were always her band, and they were always the ones that put the music together.
And she finally got to a point and she made that transition to being just Selena. Tell me about that, right? Because then at some point she began to transition to the English pop songs.
She was still with Capital in mind, and it was an English division that we're going to start, promoting a new artist. And she signed a separate contract to do an English album. And it was at that, and this is the thing, this was started happening in 94 into 95. And that's when I took off as a solo artist in 94. So a lot of that time, I do know about it because we were still working on Amor Prohibido. They were still functioning as Selena y Los Dinos till the very, very end. She was just starting to record the new album, which is when they brought in other writers aside myself, AB, Ricky, who were the main writers. And she always said, I'm going to do this, but we're always going to be Selena y Los Dinos. And even though at that time, I know Los Dinos was kind of taken off and it was just Selena, it was more of a marketing tool, or the label thought it would just be easier to remember Selena.
Yeah.
Instead of Selena y Los Dinos. I'm kind of happy that they did that with the documentary. They did Selena y Los Dinos. Because, those Dinos deserve that place. They deserve to be right next to her because they always were right next to her. And that's her blood family. And of course, that's Chris. And even though Ricky, Joe, and myself weren't blood, we were like a family. So
and to this day, Chris was supposed to be here today, but scheduling issues
Yes.
happened. So you're still pretty close with Chris
Of
and the
course.
rest. I want to know when you first got the call about the documentary and what you were thinking about, because you're a big part of that documentary telling that story.
God has been so kind to me, has been good to me. I didn't even have the capability to dream what my life has been. And to be part of the documentary, Selena y Los Dinos, it's amazing. And I'll be honest with you, I heard about the documentary about 2 years ago, literally to this date. And when they told me about it, because they told me to come to San Antonio to do some interviews for the documentary, and I go, what's it all about? They tell me what's gonna happen. And I never said this to anyone, but I said it to myself, like, what can they say in the documentary that hasn't been said in the movie or on the Netflix series or the tons of shows that different networks have done, or interviews or old interviews that she did? What hasn't been said? I asked myself. And after watching the documentary several times now, I'll be the first to admit I was absolutely wrong. And I'm ashamed for thinking that now, because this is her story. This is her story and her family's story. This is the story of Los Dinos, and this is her saying it, not Jennifer, not Christian Serratos. She's the narrator. She's the one that's telling everyone, this was my life. Let me share it with you. Let me show you all my old films, all the old home videos. Marcela, the mom, oh my God.
Yeah.
I get shivers just thinking about her because it breaks my heart every time I see her open her mouth. And I think that is a pivotal key point to this documentary too, to hear her talk. That point of view as a mom is gold. And I think those are the beautiful things in this documentary that you're gonna walk away with.
Is there anything that surprised you when you watched
Oh
it?
heck yeah! Oh my God, yes.
Because if you're surprised, then every fan should watch
No,
it,
no,
considering you were with her and lived through it.
Those home videos, 70% of them I hadn't seen.
Wow.
I hadn't. So I'm literally, because we got to go. I got to watch it at South by Southwest with the family, and I thought that was so cool and emotional at the same time. Chris was next to me, and then Mr. and Mrs. Quintanilla were in front of me. Ricky, I think, was next to me, and I was like watching the documentary with him and then with the fans, and then I literally I probably looked like a kid watching it. Like and people were going like, "Dude, you're in it, man!" Like, yes, but I've never seen this. And all the videos, I had never seen a lot of them. The home movies, her playing at her parents' family reunion, the interviews her as a child, and AB and
Yes.
Suzette, And then of course Marcela singing. I had never seen that. I didn't even know she sang. And then as the documentary progresses, I come into the picture and some of the footage with me I had never seen before.
The hair.
Oh my God.
I can always tell who you are just by the hair. And I love that you kept the hair all these years.
Well,
And
you
it's
know
just-
that in the movie, I don't know if you know, I play myself. I have hair extensions in the movie because I had cut my hair off at the time. So they have to have, and believe it or not, people think I just got the part because I'm Pete. I had to audition for my own part. I had to do a screen test, and I think Gregory Nava looked at me like, "Can you lose 15 pounds?" And I go, "What the heck?" And I wasn't even big at the time, but they wanted me to look a lot younger. Since I was going to be
Yeah.
a younger Pete in the movie. I go, "Heck yeah, I'll do it."
So they gave you like a trainer and the whole 9 yards? And
No, not
nutritionist?
even.
You had to do it on yourself?
You're on your
and
own,
they didn't
buddy.
have Ozempic and Wegovy at the
There
time,
was
so you kind of
not.
had to do it
They
on
would
your
just
own.
really starve myself
Oh my
and
gosh.
start doing a little exercise. But it was that was a great experience working with Edward James Olmos. And the first time I met J-Lo, that was mind blowing. And they said me, "You need to go rehearse with Jennifer. She wants to meet you. Or she wants to hear what you have to say, and she wants to dance with you." They go, "Heck yeah! Who would say no to dancing with J-Lo?" So the first time I walk into this dance studio, and she's spinning around, and she's wearing the tights like Sal with a t-shirt. I think it was a Selena t-shirt, and she had tied it, and she just blew my mind because she was like in character and stuff, and she looked so much like her and her mannerisms and the dancing, and she went on to do an amazing job.
When I watch a documentary, even though I know the story very well, everybody does, and I've seen it many times in different ways, but I still cried a lot. I could not help but cry, no matter what. Do you ever have those moments? Do you think about it and cry? Do you remember the moment that you found out?
Oh
that
my
Selena
God! Yeah,
was gone?
those are the horrible moments. Those are the bad ones. There's so many good ones. That's the bad one. And yeah, the documentary is I mean, unfortunately, we know the ending, but it was the beauty of the ride, the journey that we should focus on, the celebration of her life,
Yeah.
what she achieved in such a short span. I mean, it's amazing. Like we were deprived of so much that she was going to give us. I mean, what she did in that short life, it's amazing. And yes, the ending is there's no words to describe it. And I'm a writer, and I just can't even put it in words how horrible it felt when I found out. And it was disbelief, shock. I think we all felt the same thing. It was in unison. We all felt the same thing. I think because it doesn't make any sense.
It's a beautiful way of putting it in unison.
There's no way to look at it. And if we were deprived as such a beautiful, incredible human being with so much to give, and I can only imagine how much she had to give.
But she still plays such a big role
heck yeah.
today in Tejano music. I mean, she's reviving it for a new generation all these years later. What do you think about her impact in Tejano music today?
Well, the thing is, to me, I think it's the old fans are amazing, and when I say the old fans, I mean the fans that got to see her live. You know, maybe we're 10 years old when she passed. So these fans are now 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. I mean, they got probably more, they're into their lives and stuff. Me, I think the new generation of fans is what's keeping her going. These little kids, teenagers, this new revival. Well, you know what? I'm not going to call it revival because it was never gone. I mean, it's always been there.
I was going to ask you about that, though. I mean, Tejano music, you know, in the 90s, you had a lot of big names, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you do hear, like some of my coworkers and I were talking about how everybody knew, like if you said this person was playing at a quinceañera or a wedding, and that was such a big part of it. Do you feel like it's still the same now? Do you feel like it's...
Well, we can't compare the late 80s into the 90s and to the 2000s to that was the heyday of Tejano. That's when it was thriving. And that happens with every musical genre. It's not just us. I mean, you look at rock and roll, you look at country, the hair bands of the 80s, your Guns N' Roses are not this of the 90s, and so on and so forth. And that's the thing with Tejano.
You have a new song.
Yes. We're always working on different things. You know, you got your highs, your lows, your mediums. I'm always writing stuff. I write a lot of stuff with AB still. Uh, and this new song that I wrote is called El Ritmo Se Acabó. And I wrote it earlier this year.
Is this for the documentary?
It's not with a documentary, but it almost feels like it because the name of the song is called El Ritmo Se Acabó, the rhythm ended. And then
It's about Selena.
it's about Selena, of course. And what I mean, the rhythm ended, El Ritmo Se Acabó, means that for a brief moment, for a brief second, it seems like our world it closed down. So the rhythm died in that very moment when we all found out what had happened. But 30 years later is louder and stronger than ever. And that's what the song talks about, of her legacy, of what she represents, her songs, her person, what she represents to us, the Latinos. Well, actually, about mid-year, I asked Chris Perez, Chris, we miss you, man. I told him, dude, I wrote this song. Would you be interested in playing it? It's about Sal. And of course, that's very touchy for him. It's a very touchy subject. He goes, send me the song. So I sent him the song. He goes, I love it. He goes, I'm in.
Wow.
And like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And
Is that the first time you guys worked together since?
No, we worked on some of this stuff. If it is, I wrote a song with Chris, No Me Rajaré, for his work. I co-wrote that with him. But in this song, I said, you have to be in there, man. And he agreed. We just couldn't find the time. So finally, about 2 months ago, we got in the studio at his house. We put the song all together. He brought in his acoustic guitars, his electric guitar, the guitar with Selena on the actual guitar, and he does the guitar solo on that song. It was such an amazing dynamic to see Chris playing on a song for his wife. Like Selena would call him the love of his life. For him to be playing on that song for her, written by me, and it was just kind of a full circle. I mean, I wish all the Dinos could have been on it. It would have been a dream come true. And hopefully one day, who knows? But right now, I'm happy that Chris did this song, especially since it's for her, and it's a tribute to her legacy, a tribute to all the band.
Where can we hear it?
It's out already. It just came out.
Okay.
It's called El Ritmo Se Acabó, cumbia version, featuring Chris Perez on guitar, and it's out on all digital platforms. So go check it out. Go check out the Netflix documentary, and then go listen to the song. They're not. I wish it could have been part of the documentary, but I wrote it too late.
You're the singer.
I'm the singer
You're the
on this
lead
song,
on it. Okay.
along with Chris Perez on guitar, and I also brought in some old people, some old musicians. René Gasca, who played on Bidi Bidi Bam Bam, Fotos y Recuerdos, No Me Queda Más. Who played the trumpet on that song. Use that same trumpet to play on this song. So there's a lot of nice little touches to it. And last but not least, it's a gratitude also to the fans. This song is dedicated to the fans and saying thank you for 30 years for not letting her memory fade away, saying thank you to them. This is really for Sal, for the band, and for the fans.
Thank you. I love your shirt.
Oh,
You want to show everyone?
I will
'Cause
show
you can't
everyone.
see it.
Check it out. Every single song on this shirt, Bidi Bidi Bam Bam, I think is Si Una Vez, Amor Prohibido, and all the songs here. I co-wrote all these songs.
So these, wow,
on
that's
this
so
shirt.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I am. I'm right here, right now. Sorry. We're not on air, are we?
It was amazing how talented Selena was, even when she was very young.
My father's a manager, my brother's a producer, and my sister is the drummer in the band.
I got a complete group.
We worked as a unit. Selena had a very dangerous team behind her.
Selena was bigger than what she thought she was.
You have to sacrifice something in life in order to get ahead.
No one in our family has a job. We make a living off of it. And that's why it means so much to us.
She had so much vision.
Ella me dio la confianza para ser una mujer hispánica que podía hacer lo que yo quería.
People imagine her as this force, but She had her vulnerable side.
I'm tired of being on camera. Done.
For some little girl or some little boy somewhere dreaming, that's what the songs are for. They're for you.
I feel like the music will continue to grow.
Thank you, Grupo Los Dinos. When I win, they win. And when they lose, I don't know them.
Selena brought hope for the Latinos.
La verdad me siento muy emocionada.
I'm very proud of her.
If you have a dream, if you don't try, you're never gonna know. So, I'm gonna try.
El ritmo se acabó y el mundo lloró. Las flores se secaron, se marchitaron de tanto dolor y nada es igual desde que tú no estás. Y aunque pasen los años, como te extrañamos, tu voz sin igual. En nuestros corazones vivirás tu imagen, tus canciones brillarán hasta el fin del tiempo. Seguiremos queriendo en cada nota y recuerdo que nos dejaste atrás. En cada nota y recuerdo que nos dejaste atrás. En las fotos y recuerdos que nos dejaste atrás.